Everyone, and welcome to Port Arthur Historic Site. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome Eric Hutchinson, Federal Member for Lions, Mark Shelton, State Member for Lions, Chair of PASMA, Professor Sharon Sullivan, Board Member Crystal Buckley, PASMA staff, and our partners in our theatrical interpretation program, Rob Rolfe and Sue Benner from Turing Productions. Welcome.
Thanks very much, Anne. And look, it's a real pleasure to be, again, always a pleasure to be at Port Arthur Historic Site, but particularly a pleasure today to be able to announce three separate fundings, in total around $250,000. The first being $206,000 for the Port Arthur Historic Site Master Plan. So this is about, and I've seen this firsthand myself, that this site, through the increased numbers of tourism that are increasingly visiting our state, but also the Tasman Peninsula, the site and the Visitor Interpretation Centre have outgrown their capacity, and that's a good thing. So $206,000 will go towards developing a master plan there. It's also been an opportunity to incorporate the success that the Three Capes track has enjoyed. Almost 5,000 visitors since the track was opened just prior to Christmas are coming through the Port Arthur Visitor Centre, and that has created extra demand on the facility. So it's an important addition to one of the absolute iconic tourism sites in Tasmania. I'm very pleased also to announce $36,000 for the Port Arthur tourism theatrical interpretation that occurs within the site. Having experienced this firsthand myself at the opening of the penitentiary over 12 months ago now, I can say that this adds another layer, if you like, to the authenticity of the experience that visitors have to this very, very special site. And I congratulate Sue and Rob for the wonderful work that they do. This will also, though, enhance the ability of their small production company to be able to bring new people into the performances that they have around, more broadly, the Tasman Peninsula, not least at all of Coonya. And finally, $12,500, which will go to the Tasman Council to help them develop strategies to encourage greater overnight visitation on the Tasman Peninsula. This has been a challenge, of course. The wonderful experience that Port Arthur has often been sold by tourist operators as a day trip out of Hobart. So the opportunity with the Three Capes Walk, with the other attractions, the natural and built attractions of the Tasman Peninsula, this is a wonderful opportunity to enhance the overnight accommodation and visitation that occurs in this part of Tasmania. That will drive economic activity. It will drive jobs on the Tasman Peninsula, and I think particularly of the great work that Ted Barantz and the Trades Training Centre is doing at the Tasman District School. And so whether it's a course in hospitality or whether it's a course in tourism, on their back's doorstep, I think those young people that choose and would like to stay in their local community on the Tasman Peninsula, this beautiful part of Tasmania, do now have, I think, the opportunity to do that. So it's very much part of the importance that the federal government recognises. This is a truly significant industry to our nation. Over 1 million people are employed within the tourism industry in Tasmania and within Australia. The visitation increases that we've seen of domestic tourism, but also international tourism in Tasmania, are truly stunning. And that's highlighted here at Port Arthur, where in January of 2015 there were 48,000 visitors to the site. In January of 2016, a 25% increase in those numbers to 56,000. That is the story of tourism. It is the opportunity ultimately for investment in regional parts of Tasmania. 44 cents in every dollar in tourism is spent in regional Australia, and that's why it's so important. It plays a very important part in our nation's economy, but in terms of Tasmania, the proportion that tourism represents of our GDP is the highest of any state in Australia. So I'm very pleased to be able to announce this money that came out of a $43.1 million federal tourism demand driver infrastructure fund, and I think this is very appropriate use of public money, and it will encourage visitation and economic activity increasingly on the Tasman Peninsula. So very pleased to be here today. Thank you.